Hello everyone, this is Rig and today we are going to discuss about trade and commerce of Indus Valley Civilization. Now this is another episode of Indus Valley Civilization series where after discussing about the major Harappan cities, we are going to discuss about the trade and commerce which led to the growth of urbanization in the Harappan culture. So, before we get into details about trade and commerce, let us first recapitulate a brief introduction about Indus Valley Civilization. This civilization flourished between 3300 BC to 1300 BC. Approximately, it flourished for 2000 years, more than 2000 years. It is known for its advanced urban planning and architecture. All the major sites of Indus Valley Civilization like Mohenjodaro, Harappa, Kalibangan, Banawali, Rakhigari, all these sites have a specific type of urban planning and architecture which is very much a type of Indus Valley architecture. The civilization's economy heavily relied on widespread trade network. This is going to be the main topic of this presentation, the widespread trade network of the Harappan civilization. And this trade network engaged in local, regional and long distance trade. So the network of trade and the transactions happened both in local and long distance scale. The main sites of Indus Valley Civilization, as we have discussed before, are Harappa, Mohenjodaro, Rothal, Dholavira, and Rakhigari. There are many other important sites, but these are few of the most important and biggest sites of Indus Valley Civilization. Now we will go through an overview of Harappan trade network. The trade routes connected the Indus Valley Civilization with Mesopotamia, Central Asia, and the Persian Gulf. This we know from the ancient records found in the Mesopotamian inscriptions that they had contact with Indus Valley Civilization and that of Central Asia and the Persian Gulf. So these three places were very well connected with each other and shared ideas and trade and commodities. Goods traded included agricultural produce, livestock, metals, and precious stones. So these were the main commodities of trade in the form of agricultural produce. Most of these civilizations had high level of technical advancement in agriculture. Livestock means dealing in the form of animals. Metals means exchange of metallurgical technologies, and precious stones mainly involve beads of semi-precious stones like carnelian, lapis lazuli, etc. Carnelian beads from Lothal and Chanhudaro were found in Mesopotamia, Central Asia and Persian Gulf, and copper from Rajasthan was also a very important commodity of exchange. Lapis lazuli from Badakhshan in Afghanistan, timber and shell objects from Gujarat and Oman. These were the items which were exchanged between the different parts of the three civilizations, namely Mesopotamia in Central Asia and the Persian Gulf. The key trade centers of Indus Valley Civilization were Harappa, Mohenjodaro, Ganverila and Rakhigari. Next up we have the Harappan Mesopotamian trade links. This is one of the most important discovery of ancient culture and the discovery of trade route between the two most important ancient civilizations of the world, namely Harappan civilization and Mesopotamian. Vital trade route with Mesopotamia has been evidenced with the help of Harappan seals and artifacts found in Mesopotamia. Different sites of Mesopotamia include Nippur, Uruk, Ur, Failaka, Susa, Mari. All these sites had evidence of Indus Valley artifacts along with Harappan seals and different kind of other artifacts. Exchange of culture happened. If there is a trade relationship, there will be definitely an exchange of culture and ideas. Along with crafts such as Harappan carnelian beads are found at Ur and other Mesopotamian cities. Ur is one of the biggest city in Mesopotamia in ancient Mesopotamian culture, and in the royal burials of Ur we find Harappan carnelian beads as one of the most important grave goods, symbolizing that the rich people in Mesopotamia valued Harappan artifacts in such a level that they placed it in royal burials. Mesopotamian text which has been deciphered mention Meluha, which is identified with Harappan civilization. So the name given to Harappan civilization by the Mesopotamians are Meluha. The name given by the Mesopotamian to the place of Oman is called Magan, and Dilmun has been found out to be the Persian Gulf. So Dilmun, Magan and Meluha are the places through into which the Mesopotamian did their trade connections. The decline of trade has been possibly linked to Harappan civilization's fall around 1900 BC. So around 1900 BC, because of some reason which we will discuss in our next presentations, the Harappan civilization went to a decline, and with the decline of Harappan civilization there was a decline in trade relations with Mesopotamia. Key Mesopotamian sites are Ur, Nippur, Uruk and Kish. Next up we have identification of Harappan trade goods. Now what were the goods which were main commodity of exchange, and how were the raw materials for the goods obtained? Factory sites are there in Sukkur and Rohori, suggest local productions of materials for trade. So factory sites in Sukkur and Rohori suggest that the trade materials were of local production in Indus Valley Civilization itself. Tin was available in Tosam area and gold from the Himalayas. So the raw material tin was found from the area of Tosam, and gold was obtained from the Himalayan mountains. There is evidence of long distance trade that includes Harappan artifacts found in Mesopotamia. So long distance trade can be traced out up to Mesopotamia, where Harappan artifacts has been found. There, the use of scientific analysis to trace origins of raw materials used in Harappan artifacts. So all these Harappan artifacts found mainly have used raw materials found all around the place in the form of tin, gold and other materials which they obtained locally. So all the artifacts have been made with the help of local raw materials. The key artifacts include carnelian beads, copper tools and gold jewelry. So these are the key artifacts produced by the Harappan civilization people, with which they used to trade with Mesopotamia, Oman Valley and also the Persian Gulf. And all the raw materials which were obtained for making of carnelian beads, copper tools and gold jewelry were procured locally from the geological features, from the geological places around the Indus Valley Civilization itself. Now Harappan overland and maritime trade routes. So we will discuss about the main trade routes both in land and in sea. Overland northern route through Afghanistan and Mesopotamia. In this map on the left hand side you can see the overland northern route which used to go through the country of Afghanistan up to Mesopotamia. So the orange lines here indicate the route which used to go through Afghanistan, firstly through Pakistan, then Afghanistan, then through Central Asia, and then it used to go into Mesopotamia. The southern route, which was mainly a sea route, went through Baluchistan to Persian Gulf ports. So Persian Gulf is there near Egypt. So it used to go into the Persian Gulf ports through the southern route, which was a sea route. Maritime trade from Lothal and Dholavira to Gulf states and Mesopotamia. So, as we have seen while discussing the site of Lothal, that there was a dockyard, and Dholavira was also an ancient Indus Valley civilization site near the coastline of Arabian Sea. So, it can be assumed that ships used to sell from these places up to the places like the Persian Gulf, Oman or Mesopotamia, which was the main southern route of trade in the Indus Valley culture. Goods also reached Central Asia, evidenced by Harappan materials found at Shortughai. So, Shortughai is considered to be an Harappan trading post in northern Afghanistan. So, from the evidence of a trading post in northern Afghanistan, we can understand that it was through this place that the goods from the Harappan culture reached up to Central Asia. So, the trade extent or the trade influence of Indus Valley civilization was very much widespread. The key routes included through Bolan Pass to Kandahar and via Nausharo to Tep Yaya. So these are the main trade routes which the people of Indus Valley followed in order to spread their influence all over the then known world. Now, Harappan trade and transportation. All the moving of these trade goods required huge transportation capability, and this was evidenced from the clay models of boats and bullock carts that we see today existing. And even though the real original bullock carts or the ships does not exist totally, but from the drawings and the carvings and different kind of toy models, we can assume what kind of transportation facility was available to the people of Indus Valley civilization. Two-wheeled carts and packed animals used for overland transportation. So in the picture on the left you can see a model depiction of a two-wheeled cart used by the Indus Valley people. Dockyards are there in places like Lothal, which indicates that there was an advanced maritime trading capability. So the dockyard in Lothal suggests the fact that people were expert in maritime trading capabilities. River boats were also there on the Indus and its tributaries, which facilitated the internal trade. So internal trade happened through the internal ports in the Indus Valley civilization, which were connected by Indus and its tributaries. The key transport sites were Lothal Dockyard, Harappa and Mohenjodaro, where there are a lot of evidence of carts. The main rivers which supported the inland trade was Indus, Ravi and Ghaggar Hakra. Now Indus and Ravi are two of the most important rivers which are existing even today, but Ghaggar Hakra, which is presumably the Saraswati river, is not existent right now. Now, decline of Harappan trade. Why did the Harappan trade decline? Gradual decline of the Harappan trade happened when the Indus Valley civilization declined from around 1900 BC. The fewer Harappan artifacts in Mesopotamia signify that there was a reduced long distance trade. So, right from the layers which are found in Mesopotamia during the time of 1900 BC, we find that there is a decrease in the presence of Harappan artifacts in Mesopotamia. From there, we can understand that the intensity of trade had decreased. There was a shift in trade routes, and the climate change which was speculated were also a reasons for trade. So even with all the archaeological advancement, the research has still not been able to conclude the reason for the decline of Indus Valley Civilization. Climate change is speculated to be one of the most important factor behind the decline of Indus Valley Civilization. Hence, it can also be cited as one of the most important factor for the decline of trade both inland and outside Indus Valley Civilization. There was a continuation of some trade with Persian Gulf during the late Harappan phase. So the late Harappan phase comes after the mature Harappan phase, and it starts roughly from around 1900 BC. And during this late Harappan phase, even though there was a decline in trade, we find that there was a continuation of trade with the Persian Gulf, which is highly significant because by that time trade with Mesopotamia was almost over. Harappan writing and record keeping. Unlike Mesopotamia, we know that Harappan writing has not been deciphered yet. So Harappan script remains undeciphered, primary use in trade and administration. So record keeping, or what kind of commodities were there which used to be traded, what kind of organization system was there, everything can be known from the writing itself. But unfortunately, still now the writing has not been deciphered. Seals with inscriptions such as tags for goods were used especially in trade. So seals were a symbol of authenticity in the goods exchanged by different trading civilizations. But for in the case of Indus, we don't find the proper use. We cannot know the proper use of seals because the writings has not been deciphered. Writing suggests organized trade and inventory management. So there were probably proper inventories and storage facilities along with proper transport capabilities, which all lead to proper growth in trade. So unless we decipher the writings, it cannot be known properly. But the existence of writing suggests that there was organized trade and inventory management. Seals found at trading sites like Lothal indicate that there was administrative activities which were directly linked with trade and trading infrastructures. Next up, we have specific trade goods and sites. So what were the specific commodities of trade? Harappan ceramics and terracotta toys indicate wide-reaching cultural exchange. So as we have discussed before while discussing the crafts of Indus Valley Civilization, that Harappan ceramics and the terracotta toys indicate to the fact that people knew advanced level of pottery. Therefore, it can be assumed that these ceramics and terracotta toys had wide-reaching cultural exchangeable effects. Carnelian beads are indicative of craftsmanship which were widely traded and found in Mesopotamia. So carnelian beads are one of the most important indicative features of archaeological influence of Indus Valley Civilization in Mesopotamia. Metals like copper from Rajasthan and tin from Afghanistan were in high demand throughout the Indus Valley Civilization, throughout all the sites of Indus Valley Civilization, and also sometimes abroad Indus Valley Civilization. Luxury items were there which were lapis lazuli sourced from the mines in Badakhshan, which is in modern day Afghanistan. So lapis lazuli is one of the most important luxurious items from the Harappan culture, which has been found in the archaeological layers of Mesopotamia and Oman Valley also. The key resource sites were Chanhudaro, which produced beads. It was a bead factory and different stages of bead production has been found in Chanhudaro. Khetri was a copper mine, and Khetri is still used as a copper mine in the modern era. And Shotugai is a place where lapis lazuli trade was very prominent. So, cultural impact of Harappan trade. What was the cultural impact? How far was the influence of Harappan trade? Now, whenever there is a trade relation, there will be diffusion of cultural elements. So, some ideas or some technology or some concepts from sites like Mesopotamia, Persian Gulf, and Oman must have been in contact with the ideas and cultures of Harappan civilization. So there must have been a diffusion of Harappan cultural elements which are seen in artifacts across regions. So even in between Harappan civilization, we find that there is a similarity between the architectural styles, town planning, designs in ceramics, and the subsistence mode of the people. The exchange of goods also meant that there was exchange of ideas which led to influencing regional cultures. So when there is an exchange of ideas, it will influence the culture in general. Therefore, exchange of goods and trade have an impact in the cultural development of an area. Harappan's craft technology like bead making were highly advanced and highly valued. We know that bead making was a very prominent mode of subsistence for the Harappan people from the sites, from excavation of the sites like Chandudaro. And also we have found evidence of Harappan beads in royal burials of Mesopotamia. Therefore, it can be assumed that they were highly valued and technologically very important luxurious items. Architectural influences are evident in the dockyard at Lothal and granaries at Harappa. So different architectural features like granaries, dockyard, all these things must have been influenced by the architectural features in sites like Mesopotamia. The key cultural exchange sites are Harappa for architecture and Lothal for maritime trade. Harappan intra-regional trade. So intra-regional trade means what were the trading infrastructures within the sites of Indus Valley Civilization. Now we know that Indus Valley Civilization sites did not spread over a small area. It covered a large area in which there were numerous types of sites with numerous geological features and diversities in the mode of subsistence. Hence, what was the intra-regional trade? Local trade within Indus Valley was extensive and supported by urban centers. This in total led to the growth of urbanization in the Indus Valley Civilization. Now almost all the sites were connected by tributaries of Indus Valley of Indus River. Hence there was a riverine trade. The boats used to go through rivers from one town to another and facilitate the exchange of goods and trading activities. Agricultural surplus allowed the Harappans to engage in trade with distant land. So there was no shortage of food because this area was highly fertile. Hence there was excess of agriculture which led to agricultural surplus. Now this allowed the Harappans to engage in trade with the distant lands. Trading with surrounding cultures including Jhukar and Kot Diji cultures within the Indus Valley. So even though Indus is a large area, Jhukar and Kot Diji cultures are on the periphery of Indus Valley boundary. Hence there was trade with surrounding cultures also. Use of standardized weights and measures all across the Indus Valley Civilization indicates a sophisticated trade system and an organization existence or presence of an organization that used to regulate and control these activities. The key intra-regional sites were Harappa, Mohenjodaro and Dholavira. Harappan trade with distant land. In this slide, we will focus about how Harappans interacted with the civilizations which were outside their geographical periphery. Evidence of Harappan artifacts are found in Mesopotamia and Gulf states, which shows reach of their trade. So, from the map on the left hand side, we can see what was the reach of trade of Indus Valley Civilization. From the northwestern part of Indian subcontinent, it reached up to the Central Asian country of Iraq, in places like Baghdad, in Saudi Arabia, and also in the Gulf of Oman. We find existence of Indus Valley artifacts, and in the north we find Indus Valley artifacts up until the coastline of the Caspian Sea. Hence it covered a large area where people used to trade extensively for their overall growth. The discovery of Harappan seals in Mesopotamia and the Persian Gulf indicates formal trade relationship. So there was formal trade relationship between the sites of Indus Valley and that of Mesopotamia and Persian Gulf. Artifacts like Harappan weights are found in Mesopotamia, which suggest their influence on trading practices and also the management capability of the people in both the civilizations. Long distance trade included precious metals and stones, which were symbols of wealth and status. So, precious stones and metals are symbols of luxury and status, and from the archaeological evidence we understand that these were highly valued in other parts of the then modern world. The key distant trade connections are connections with Mesopotamia, connections with Persian Gulf region that includes the present site of Saudi Arabia, Oman and others, and also a few places in Central Asia like Iran, Afghanistan and that of the coastline of Caspian Sea. Now Harappan trading post and ports. What were the main trading ports and post or the outlets of the Indus Valley Civilization? The strategic location of ports facilitated trade across the Arabian Sea. So we find location of ports in places like Kutch, Dholavira and Lothal. So all these places had been located on the coastline of Arabian Sea, and that was a very strategic location because it facilitated the trade across the Arabian Sea up to Mesopotamia or Persian Gulf. Trading posts like Shortughai in Afghanistan functioned as hubs of trade with Central Asia. So Shortughai is a very small site which has been found in Afghanistan, and it can be assumed that it used to function as a trading outpost of the Indus Valley Civilization, the outpost which helped in the transfer of goods to Central Asian market. Lothal is one of the world's earliest port and was hub for maritime trade. So even though the dockyard in Lothal is a very disputed structure currently because no archaeological evidence concludes to the fact that it was definitely a port, but we can assume that there was maritime activities in Lothal and it used to function as a trading hub. Dholavira, which is situated in Gujarat and is also situated near the Arabian Sea, was another significant trading center. Dholavira is a three-tier settlement and very advanced kind of urban planning has been found in Dholavira, from where we can assume that the growth of the town was enhanced with the trading connections in the Arabian Sea. The key ports and trading ports included Lothal, Dholavira and Shortughai in Afghanistan. Now Harappan economy and society. How did all this trading activity facilitate the economy and society of Indus Valley Civilization? Trade was the key driver in the Harappan economy, leading to prosperity and urban development. So when you do a lot of trading activities with other civilization, there will be a high economic inflow of money, and that will lead to economic prosperity and urban development. The social structure was likely influenced by trade, with merchants playing a significant role. Now, when we find a trading of this influence and this scale in the then world, it must be enhanced, it must be supported by guild like structure of merchants, and we can assume that these merchants played a significant role in the urban development of the Indus Valley culture. Urban centers were both political and economic hubs, which helped in organizing and controlling the trading activities. So there was exchange of ideas. People from all around the then world used to gather around these trading hubs, which facilitated political discussions, economic growth, and management capabilities of the civilization. The wealth from trade supported arts, religion, and culture of the people. So, when there is economic inflow of wealth, people will be there will be more advancement in culture of art and religion of the people in a civilization. Overview. Now, what are the main points we can draw from the entire presentation? The Harappan civilization was a pioneer in establishing extensive trade networks. Hence, from all the trade routes, from the evidence of trading commodities found elsewhere in the world, we can understand that Harappan civilization was a pioneer in establishing very extensive and advanced trade networks all around the then world. Their trade practices were advanced for their time, involving overland and maritime routes. So their trade practices, according to the contemporary civilizations of the Harappan culture, we can understand that their trading practices was very much advanced. Trade influenced the economic, cultural, and technological development of this civilization. This can be very well evidenced by the large scale trading activities we find around the Harappan civilization, that there was an advancement in economic, cultural, and technological development. The decline of trade routes may have contributed to the decline of Harappan urban centers. So there was a decline of trade routes. It can be linked on the other way also, that with the decline of trade routes there was a decline in the Harappan civilization in general, because trading seems to have supported a lot of economic activities in the civilization. Future archaeological research may provide further insights into Harappan trade networks and their broader impact on ancient economies. We know that writing has not been deciphered. A lot of researches are yet to be done. So if those researches are done properly, we might find further insights into Harappan trade networks. So that was all about Indus Valley trade and commerce. Let me know how you liked the video, and in my next videos I am going to explore more about Indus Valley Civilization. Please support me so that I can bring brighter contents in future. Thank you so much.